Okay, like the last several pages were blank. Didn't know if that was on purpose.
Yeah, those are just blanks that I use just to fill in, so just to keep it uniform. Because
I
this,
see, I see.
yeah, this program has a habit of like starting like with the text boxes or whatever. So I have to
Mhm.
delete each one. So I'd rather just duplicate a bunch of blanks.
Okay.
I mean, we could start it up. I just want like so you get a feel for it. I mean,
Yes, I saw the Mr. Beast thing. I was gonna bring up the biblical aspect of that.
right? Yeah, no, yeah, I put
And
that in there because I thought of you. I was like, and then I found some clues in there too. So
yeah. Uh have to let me see if I can let me get this pulled up on my Telegram so I can just flow right through it.
there's a couple like ones that I edited and like added to. I added a couple more. So
Okay. Mr. Beast acquired them. I got that pulled up. And then so you're gonna talk about gold and silver obviously and
right,
Beyonce and how you gonna tie all this in.
right.
How are you tying Beyonce in with
Because
sport?
because the whole basis of you can see the screen, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the whole thing was that I found it interesting um because of the whole 88 thing, right? So that led me into like seeing his past. So basically I was going to go into like Paco being a fashion designer and basically being somewhat of a futurist,
Uh-huh.
and he liked to use a lot of like metals and plastics and things out of the norm for like his designs.
Okay. Okay.
He was
All
made
right.
fun of it, like he was always out there, but then it started picking up. So I was gonna use the reference like Jane Fonda in Barbarella. I think
Uh-huh.
he designed some stuff for her or whatever. So it's kind of like that was like a futuristic movie. Like, you know, it's like older. I don't know if you've seen it or not, but she was a fan of his and he had a couple models or whatever. And then that ties into like gold and silver because he liked to use those like metallics or whatever. And I believe,
Okay.
like, I don't have time to go through all of it, that's why I was just gonna mention it. I believe that he created like one of the most expensive dresses and it was like pure gold or some shit like that. So it's kind of like he uses, like, you know, that sequence, like those little materials, they look like kind of like little pieces, but he ties them together and they're like see-through almost, but they're not.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
So it's called like a sequence dress or something like using for that's what it's called. So he did that, and then it led me to like those little themes together, and basically, you know, going into like his perfume. One of his famous ones, the last ones was the 1 million, and it looks like, if you could see the screen, it looks like a gold bar.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
from,
absolutely.
yeah, so then I was like, wait, there's something here. And then I go on, and it's just like he's a very weird dude, and I'll explain some facts here or whatever. But I guess we could start, right? Like,
Yeah, let's get going.
so yeah, so this is another episode of Decode. I got the one and only Duke Doobie. He's a fellow decoder. He's a master at like date numerology and movies, and we've hooked up because of Devine Vortex. And you know, we kind of connected to talk about a little bit the markets, including like, you know, stocks and crypto, and involving, of course, the Super Bowl. So I have a little bit of a feeling or prediction that I feel that, you know, people should stick around and watch, that I think is gonna be like the winner. Okay, so if you want to introduce yourself, Duke, to the audience.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on your show. I appreciate it. I do not have anything to plug. I don't have a YouTube. I don't have a Twitter. None of that stuff. I just get with these people. I've met them in a few Discord channels, and our mindsets kind of jived a little bit. Our frequency, we're on the same frequency, so we ended up talking, and we bring a lot of value to each other. So that's why we're here right now. Hopefully we can get something going. Um, and yeah,
He's gonna offer a little bit of insight and just knock me over the head if I'm going too off tangent.
maybe try to singer me up a little bit. Yeah, yeah, and if this goes good, man, we can do this again in the future. I hope.
I know it's gonna go good because we always flow together, and
Oh yeah,
we've talked for hours
sure.
already.
100%. Yeah, bro. Well, want to go ahead and get this started? Let's rock and roll.
Okay, so just to give you a little whatever, just to give you a bit of the way I'm gonna tie it in, it's gonna seem like, oh, how is this anything related to like the Super Bowl, or how is this related to crypto, Bitcoin, or the markets, or I'm gonna talk about a little bit of each, and whatever Duke, that you could always interrupt me if you have anything to say or add to it. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
So basically we're gonna start right away, and let me get my slides here. So I thought it was interesting that this fashionista Paco Rabanne, he died at 88, and this is where kind of like me and Duke kind of like flow together, because he's a big fan of Back to the Future, and he has a really really good decodes on Back to the Future and the way it ties to the markets. So I kind of mentioned it to him. I was just like hearsay, but then I started digging a little bit more into it. Why did this person die at 88? What does it have to do, what we're gonna see or in the upcoming markets, or the Super Bowl maybe? So I just put it together. I put it down, but I started looking at it. I'm trying to connect the gold and silver, which is tied to his advertising and packaging, and the markets of gold and silver. So Paco Rabanne, known for boldly saying he's 78 years old, he's claimed to met God and Jesus and believed in aliens. And he used gold and metals and plastics in his fashion. He ballooned in success in the fashion industries of the 60s and 70s. So I was explaining to Duke earlier that he used a lot of like metals and things like that, the gold, the silver, and especially plastics. Yeah, I think he has like one of the most expensive dresses. It was made out of all gold and sequency. So if you look at this lady's attire here on the right, that's basically the little mini skirt thing, and the whole way it was put together. But he was also known as almost like a laughing stock, because he was out there. So he also got fame. Before I get into like his perfumes and things like that, he got fame for doing an art installation, combining fashion and art and stuff like that with Salvador Dali. Okay, so I thought that was interesting. So this guy is like, he has the beard and everything. I think he might be one of the most interesting men in the world, like the commercial Dos Equis. But anyway, yeah, he's the most outland,
the same thing.
right? Like he's totally there. He's totally there. He's like an Austin Powers, like most interesting man, Dos Equis or something. So it's funny because he claimed to have sex with Mother Earth. What do you think about that, dude?
um,
That's a wild claim right there. I
is he
mean,
a tree hugger?
he must have been. He's.
Tree hugger. Did he bore a hole and?
I mean, I couldn't get into detail about it or anything, because like it would take so long. I actually wanted to show some of his like his work and stuff like that. Let me see if I could pull it up here.
Okay, we're gonna start in 5, 4, 3, 2.
So he used like, you see where it's saying like these patterns or whatever or whatnot. That's wrong. Can you see the screen at all?
Yeah, it's kind of blurry for me.
Oh, but you can see the video. It don't matter. I don't really have. You can see the video.
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, so I don't know why it's not showing up here. Give me a second.
No worries.
What? Should be sidecar. Okay. I know what happened. So basically I'll show it to you first. I mean, he used a lot of these patterns like sequencing, like I said, in these metallic colors, especially in his work. And I'll show the audience because I have to do it separately for some reason. It won't show up here. But I'll add a little video so people can see it. So and I thought nothing of it. I was looking through videos back and forth, and I kind of like thought nothing of it until I popped into it was kind of like hold on one second. It was last night's Grammy Awards that, you know, everybody's been speaking about this, you know, especially, you know, about Beyonce and all the awards she's won and things like that. So she shows up in a gold and silver dress, right?
Yep.
So from there, I said, no, I mean, what are the coincidences? And then I started looking at other patterns within like the female audience or artists themselves. They had like those same colors or something in between. And you could say, oh yeah, it's probably like this, they do this every year, but I've seen a couple years in a row. I don't remember seeing like this style of like just, you know, golden and silver and things like that. So she has the nominations were announced week prior, with Beyonce leading the pack for her album Renaissance. Her 9 nods brought her career total to a staggering 88 nominations. What do you think about that?
I love it.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. 88 is related to, for the listeners, 88 is related to 616 because 88 weeks equals 616 days. And
Wow.
it's also real, like if you look at the Bitcoin 8 and 88 MAs, you can see a really neat pattern. It likes to follow those two EMAs, like the cross. You can utilize the up cross and down cross on it for bullish and bearish moves.
Yeah, for sure. We're gonna do another like, you know, video and stuff like that, so you can show your like maybe charts or and things like that, so you can show the 88 EMA. I remember you speaking about that.
Yep, yep, yep.
So it's very that's an important number.
Yeah, and the fashion thing is super interesting because they like to, like, one of the first things I remember about how the fashion industry is tied into world events is the Black Swan. Remember that? Was it at the end of 2020? They had some sort of fashion show, and there was a black swan that was strutting around front and they're on the red carpet, and we know what happened. And let's see, it was at the end of 21, I believe, and then
Really?
in 22 everything tanked. Yeah, yeah. It's so the fashion industry.
And that was part of the fashion week?
Yeah. What's interesting about you bringing up gold and silver is because just a few days ago, gold started sharply dip, started taking massive dips.
Right.
Comparatively, and like, you know, within the last 20 years of gold doing its thing.
Right, that's interesting. I didn't know that. I thought it was actually was going up.
I can get it pulled up real quick on my phone just to double check.
No, I believe you. I just had a different impression or whatever.
Let's see. It fell. It's in the past 2 days. It's fallen 8%.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep.
So that's funny. So 8%. Look at that number 8
now
again.
we got gold and silver making an appearance in the market, or in the fashion industry, and gold and silver's taking a dip now. It just makes me think of some people I follow on Twitter. They're saying to PCA gold and silver all year long.
Yeah, I've heard of that. You suggested it to me too.
Yeah.
So then that's
So
maybe that's why kind of like I was like, I'm not trying to fish or anything. I'm not trying to like just pick at stuff and pick anything. This is actually connections, and I remember dude telling me that, and maybe that's why my subconscious was telling me there's maybe more here, you know. And
100%,
right,
100%.
and then I've
Like,
done. Go ahead.
I can go into the elements real quick too on that. Remember me telling you my girlfriend's dream on Decoded, and I use the periodic table
Okay.
to match it with Kohl's clothing store.
Okay, you want to hold off because I got some
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
some
Do
numbers to
your
match.
thing.
Yeah, I got some numbers to match to that too, and it'll
Awesome.
work perfectly. So just
Awesome.
to continue, like the you'll see within this video for the audience that's watching, in the last one I did a video on Balenciaga, and they've been in hot water obviously because of the perversions that they've shown, and sort of advertising with children and things like that. So I showed there was a connection with between a fashion show ritual and something coming up maybe in March that could be, maybe the markets will boost. So if you want to check that out, you can do so. But I'll touch base in a few minutes, and you'll see how fashion also has to do with the markets, and movies also in the numbers. It'll show you right away. When well, just be patient with me, and I'm going to show you in a few minutes. So financial market right here, and you have Philadelphia. Rihanna's gonna be in the halftime show. Pepsi and GOAT. The word GOAT all equals 65, right?
Yeah.
So this was the 65th annual Grammy Awards, okay? And I'm not gonna go into detail like, oh, what happened with with this person or that person. And I know that there's been decoders out there that have seen the whole like whatever satanic ritual thing. I'll show a little bit at the end, but we're trying to get to the point here about the markets really, and how we could maybe benefit from this. So 65 is a movie that's coming out. Just found out this today, Duke. So I'm not holding on you.
That's
So
the name?
yeah, that's the name of the movie, 65. Look at that.
What the?
Exactly. So, and look when it's coming out. So 31 plays a really big role in this decode. And I think so I didn't watch everything of Jordan's from Waters Above because I wanted to save my own decode and then watch his later. But he did mention in his last Red Pill something, I forgot. He mentioned something about 31 and the score, and I add my 2 cents later. But anyway, Adam Driver is a 33 life path if you do his numbers. So if you look at the 33,
That's very rare.
right, it's very rare.
The rarest life path out there. It's actually the closest life path to 33 is 3. If you're a life path 3, you're closest to a 33. But there's a lot more 3s than 33s.
Yeah,
People think
yeah,
it's 22, but no, if you read the life path, it's very, very similar to a 3.
right. Okay, that's the first time I hear about that, but thanks for letting me know.
Yeah, no problem, brother. It's a little fun fact, a little throw out there.
Yeah, man, I always need those, man. But I think somehow, I don't know if we spoke about this the last time, like 31, the number 31, because you look at that March 10 equals a 31 for the movie release. I think 31, I believe 13 and 31 is related to 33 somehow. I haven't found the full connection, but I don't know if we
He
spoke
played
about
the
that.
Sith Lord, correct?
Yeah, he did. And I hate him for it. Because he killed Han Solo.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty, if you go into his life, some things, he was in the military, I believe. He went into the military right after 9/11, which I thought was interesting. And now he's an actor. And I think they have like some I think they have like a theater guardsmanship or something like for the Marines, and he joined. But anyway, those are little facts or whatever. But the movie's about a catastrophic crash on an unknown planet, and his name is Mills, right? So then I thought it was funny because Mills, right? And we looked at the Paco Rabanne, the 1 mil, right? The 1 mil name for his perfume. And this guy's name is Mills. So he's basically going on the terrain, like, you know, just researching. He crashed into the planet, and it's basically the terrain is riddled with dangerous prehistoric creatures. So basically dinosaurs and stuff like that. So he went back like 65 million years back, okay? Back in time.
Okay.
So I thought that was interesting because we always connect, obviously, the number 88 with, you know, the time travel and being, if you want to talk about that and the Back to the Future and things like that, the connections you've seen.
Yeah. Click on the movie.
Yeah, sure.
The movie debut. The 65. 31. I'm looking. So the Mills part, I was looking at General Mills stock whenever you said Mills.
Oh wow, you think
And
you were?
It's hit. It's hit hard. It's been hit hard.
Really?
Past since December.
Oh wow.
I don't have much else.
No, I just thought it was interesting because of the 88. Yeah. Remember, on the 88 miles per hour and Back to the Future, and I know you're an expert on that movie.
Time traveling,
right?
I'm not putting anything together just yet. 6 plus 5 is 11.
Right.
65. Hang on just a second.
I mean, it doesn't have to like sync. It's just about him being. He went into like time travel mode, like somebody from the future going back so many years in time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it just keeps.
65 is 5 times 13, and it has a divisor of 13, which is inverted from 31.
Oh wow.
13 and 31 has been playing, like, it's been very significant. Was it Devine who was saying that 131 has been an indicator of bottom lately?
I don't remember, to be honest.
I think I remember her saying that. Yeah. I like this.
Right. So if we go back, the 65 means like the financial market, Philadelphia, obviously the Eagles are playing, Rihanna in the halftime, and then Pepsi. Pepsi's usually the one that, you know, sponsors the halftime show. They've done it for the past, like, 10 years.
And it's the only drink that Marty McFly drinks in Back to the Future.
Exactly. I do. Yeah. I remember you saying that.
Free, actually. He asked for a Pepsi free. They don't have one. So he says he'll take a coffee, a black coffee, and he doesn't get to drink it. And then I don't recall anything, drinking anything in part 2. And then part 3, there's dirty water.
Right.
His ancestor, his great grandfather, or whatever, handed him dirty water, and he didn't drink it.
Oh wow.
I'll have a decode on that. But so financial market in Philadelphia Eagles. So what is stamped on lots of currency? An eagle.
Right. Yeah, on the bill, on all the bills, basically, right or no?
Yeah, they're on the bills. They're on the coins. They're on your. You can get them stamped on your gold and your silver. All sorts of stuff.
Copy.
Like, it's a big symbol. And see, so Rihanna.
So she's doing the halftime report. It's usually sponsored by Pepsi, but this year you'll see in the video what happened. But I wanted to keep this going, so they're no longer sponsoring it. But they paid her like $50 million for that deal.
Yo, hold up. Pepsi's no longer sponsoring the Super Bowl halftime.
And I'll give you another detail. They've actually got to have a commercial, and it's gonna be, you're gonna find this funny. You better write it down. It's gonna be a Pepsi Zero commercial.
Oh my fuck.
Yep. So you just said that whole thing about that Pepsi free and all that stuff.
Sugar free. That's like, I've been racking my brain. I still can't figure it out. But there's something about sugar with the occult.
Hmm.
And
was the number one drug they push.
But sugar's not bad. Sugar's one of the main elements in the human body.
Oh, you said occult. I thought you meant elitist for some reason. Whatever. My bad. My bad.
No, I'm just trying to wrap my brain. It's like, so sugar, like your body needs sugar to survive.
Right.
And he's saying he wants sugar-free products, but we all know that aspartame and shit like that is bad for us and make you go blind eventually.
Right. Right.
I don't know if we all know that, but I know that.
Well, it's cancerous at certain points. Depends how much you drink of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or you can lose your teeth.
You know?
So, well, you gotta wait for that part, and it's gonna come up soon. So yeah. But I just thought it was funny because she was paid. So we already made the Grammy connection, and you know she was paid 50 million just for herself. You know what I mean? And you'll see for other like Super Bowls or whatever, I think is between the artists, because the last Pepsi halftime show was last year, and they had Eminem, Dr. Dre, 50 Cent, they had Mary J. Blige, Snoop was on there, and they had to split all that. You know what I mean? Or if they got paid, I don't know how it works. You know what I mean? At all.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was interesting. She got paid good, like, and it was the number 50.
And in 2012.
Right.
2 date.
Yeah, so then there you go. So now you have another one connection here, and we have 212 was the day of the Super Bowl. So I thought that was interesting that's coming, you know, that this happened in history, and we have that coming up, and it's also the 50th year of hip hop.
The 50th number in my girlfriend's dream that I was going to tell you about. That
the 212, right?
212,
right?
Yeah, the 212 connects, or it's the it's the the 212. It represents 12 and 21. And pi, 212. It appears in digits 120, 121, 122. Which is all numbers of the weight of the element antimony. Antimony is a chemical element with the symbol Sb, an atomic number 51. It's a gray metal and is found in nature mainly as a sulfide mineral. The antimony compounds have been known since ancient times and were powdered for the use as medicine and cosmetics, often known by the Arabic name Kohl. This is where Kohl's gets its name, the retail store Kohl's. And so I searched Kohl's, and it had a low on December 22nd. Let me go back. Let me look. Sorry, I know you.
No, go ahead, man.
You don't have your stocks. Or we don't have the stocks pulled up for you on this one.
And just while he looks it up, also Pepsi has, if you look at their stock, remember that we looked at it, that it just keeps going up. It never like bolts down or dumps down, right? Last time we looked at that stock.
Correct. Let's see. 1222 is the low of Kohl's.
1222.
Yeah. A low of $23.38. There's that 23 appearing again.
Yeah, 23 tied to Mercury.
Yeah.
To
and 38. So 741 has been played a huge role in meme stocks. And the 741 is a 38th triangular, so that's where the 38 comes into play. Here. So just to get everybody on the same page.
So yeah, going back, antimony is also the one with the Egyptian eye, or the third eye, they kind of call it, right?
Oh, really?
Isn't it? The I gotta look it up now.
Yeah, look it up.
I believe it is. What number is it again?
212 for the 51.
51. Okay, I believe it is. Yeah, yeah, it is. So it has that what do you call it? The it's like the Egyptian eye with, like, you know, I think you've sort of like the Ra,
So
the Ra's eye or
antimony comes
something.
from two Greek words: anti, meaning not, and monos, meaning alone. So it means not alone. So that's fucking crazy right there. I'm trying to find what the Egyptians used for it. It's modern. It's used for eye makeup.
Right. So they put in like that Egyptian eye makeup, and it looks like that. You know, when people trying to decode, they say it kind of looks like the evil eye or the third eye or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And
Oh
that's
shit.
tied to it too. It's a 212.
It's now used for semiconductor technology.
And that's huge in the coming years, huh?
Yeah.
That's huge. Along with silver too. For
It's
semiconductor.
huge right now.
Right.
Yeah, silver as well.
So to go on, like,
I'm going.
yeah, so the Queen Bey, you know, I took this from an article. She said, it says, well, Queen Bey just broke the record for most Grammy wins of all time. So she has 32 Grammys in total. That's
I don't even know who
32.
that is.
Huh? Oh,
Oh, it's
Beyonce, yeah.
Queen Bey.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I just put that in there because it was a quote for an article. But
Beyonce, 32 Grammys. Wow.
that's insane, man. And she has 88 nominations. So I'll tie in the 32 at the very end. So people, please bear with us. You know, we're just decoding together. I call it the dual decode. So I made the connection to Mr. Beast, and you could chime in a few seconds. So Mr. Beast was born in 1988 in Kansas, and his real name is Jimmy Donaldson, which equals to 50. So we already made that match with the $50 million and the 50. And if you look at the number 50, I wrote this down, I got it from a book, and it basically means the intellectual number. It's the number of fearlessness. It's like the number that equals like intrepid. If you reduce it, it equals 50 also. Okay, so it's like a fearless number. And I always see, like, if you go to his page, his YouTube page, it says, I survived the 50 hours of this, Antarctica, a maximum security prison. And these are just a few, but he always picks 50, or he hands out 500,000 or 10,000. And if you want to chime in, and I know you got some stuff on I think Mr. Beast also.
Oh yeah. Might lose some people on this one, but
Don't matter.
in the media, things are quite literal. Whenever you compare it biblically, for instance, in the Book of Revelation, it says trumpets will sound. Okay. Well, Trump and Pence ran for president, vice president. Trumpets. Okay. And then Mr. Beast just asked on his Twitter back on the 30th of January, would you vote for me if I ran for president? Well, in Revelation 17:12 through 13, it says, the 10 horns which you saw are 10 kings who have received no kingdom yet, but they will receive authority as kings for 1 hour with the beast. These are of one mind and will give their power and authority to the beast. Okay, so 17 plus 13 equals 30. Mr. Beast inquired about presidency via Twitter on the 30th, which would put him running against Donald Trump. because Donald Trump, I believe, announced on the 28th that he was running again on for the 2024 presidential campaign. And then in Revelations 13:4 it says they worshiped the dragon who gave authority to the beast, and they worshiped the beast, saying, "Who is like the beast? Who is able to wage war with him?" Like, for real, who is able to wage war with this guy? All he does is give money and shit to people. But he
Right.
also, another thing I never liked about him is he makes people compete for materialistic things. I hate that shit. I hate it. And then
Yeah, one of his videos he had, it looked like Squid Games or something, and he was like offering money
yeah,
for the
yeah.
winner.
Oh yeah, he had Squid Game set up, and my kid was watching it, and I was like,
Right, right.
no, not no.
And one of them, it was like, oh, he pinned the adults against the kids in a contest to see
Yeah,
who I guess survives whatever the mission was or whatever.
you ask someone, retirement age, you ask a boomer who Mr. Beast is, they don't fucking know. If you
Right,
ask their grandkids, they're going to be like, "Oh my God, Mr. Beast! I love Mr. Beast."
right.
It's just it's it's a it's
It's
a blind. It's all he does is just give shit away, and uh, which is he helps people out. He really does, but a lot of his videos he's not really helping people. He's like making his friends compete for 100 grand or a house or a car. You know what I mean?
right, and it looks like though I just scrolled through his pages or whatever, and it looks like it's just as of recent he's kind of like helping people out. So I don't know if you want to talk about like he tried to like he healed. I mean, he
Oh
paid for the
yeah,
surgery for
he
like,
paid for a
right.
thousand people to restore their vision.
That was crazy. I watched some of it and people were so like
Yeah,
emotional and crying. It's
yeah. So
crazy.
Mr. Beast heals 1,000 blind people.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So it's like it's fucking crazy. Like I don't know. It's you just have to see through the veil.
Well, to
You
give you a
know.
little bit of a backstory, I said, well, how can I make this a connection? The thing I found was that he was born in Kansas, and we were talking about the Chiefs going into the Super Bowl, and then a second connection, I believe in 2000, I forget if it was 2017 or 2019. He basically, I think he was before, I think he was as big as he is now. He was working with another big YouTuber called PewDiePie, and PewDiePie has like his whole following. He was like one of the first guys that has like millions and millions of subscribers.
He was Cutie Pie, wasn't he?
No, PewDiePie is totally different guy.
Is he?
Yeah. So I guess they were on the same team together or something, and it's all about guerrilla marketing with these guys. So basically, what he did for the Super Bowl, since they couldn't raise enough money, like they wanted to create an ad like for the Super Bowl or whatever, so they couldn't raise enough money. They got like five of them or whatever to wear a T-shirt where it says "sub to PewDiePie." So he came out in one of the, when people like the announcers like noticed it, and then they went crazy, like whatever, like their fans and whatnot, whatever, like so, like it was an accomplishment. But like the way I see it is just all about guerrilla marketing. And when you talked about him, like saying your son and like young people, like they know exactly who he is. Like if he was like Ronald McDonald or something, you know what I mean? Like I get the vibes right away of like Andrew Tate, because it was funny because just listening to young kids and going to like little birthday parties for the for my nephews and things like that, and you start talking to them and like, oh, so what's going on, and they just mention it out of nowhere and say, I want to be like Andrew Tate, I love him. I'm like, what? Like nobody even asked you. You know what I mean? And like
Uh-huh.
that's like grown folk, like adult stuff, you know what I mean, that this guy talks about, whatever. But I don't know, whatever. I mean, they could have chose a better role model, but who's a good role model, in the media anyway? You know what I mean? So you definitely got to watch out. But anyway, like you have anything else to share on him?
No, other than I think he's basically this is another part of Revelations playing out, and to the people who think, oh, I don't believe in the Bible. It's like you don't have to believe in the Bible. The King James version was written for esoteric and exoteric purposes. You
Right.
can use it as a codex to see what's going to happen. Now shit's inverted and flipped and mirrored. And you have to like be smart enough to decipher what the fuck is what. But like it can give you answers about what the fuck's going to happen. All the answers are in the Bible. You just have to know how to read it esoterically.
Correct. Correct. Definitely. And it's a guide, you know, it keeps some things in order, you know what I mean? And it's something
Sure.
that I kind of like what Logan says from Decode Your Reality is like, you know, you have all these texts and scriptures, like, you know, you have from the Quran to the Torah to the Bible and things like that. And he's just basically like, why are there different versions of the same God? You know what I mean? Or what now? Their own God. And he says people will get bored. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they have to create different ways to get people enticed into like learning something about virtue or something, you know?
For sure.
But so to continue, Apple Music is the official sponsor of the Super Bowl halftime show, okay?
Okay. Got the little bite taken out of the apple.
Yeah, I didn't even put the logo up. Fuck them. They got enough advertising. But anyway, Apple equals 50. And it's funny because today I heard some news that it didn't affect the stock too much, but they were talking about that the iPhone, the latest one, is going to be discounted in China. And this company, Apple, if you know their history, they never discount anything. Like anything that just like comes out, you ain't getting discounts, you know what I mean? Unless you're a student. And I thought it was funny they gave like preference to China, you know what I mean?
That's where their manufacturing is.
Yeah, so they might be working out a deal, or these phones are not up to par. I don't know what's going on. But to continue, so Rihanna is the one that's being sponsored by Apple Music, and she was born in '88 also. So we see where we get this tie from Rihanna, financial market, Pepsi, Go, right? 65, and now she's born in '88. You know what I mean? So we have three, you know, Beyonce's nominations are 88. Paco Rabanne dies at 88. Mr. Beast is born in 88. And all these connections to 50 and 88, right?
38 years from the Back to the Future movie, which
right.
is for one, you know.
And is
that
38 years from Back to the Future has been as an anniversary?
Yeah, it was. Whoa. Well, it'll be, I think it's July 3rd.
Okay, so it's this year coming up.
38 years.
This year then, okay.
So yeah, so it came out July 3rd, 1985. And but in part 3, you know, I was talking about him drinking the dirty water. They also eat a rabbit. It's the only thing he eats out of all 3 movies. He takes a little bite of a rabbit and he spits out 3 pellets, wanting to march. And then since it's the rabbit, 38 years later, you're the rabbit. Okay, so we're in the year of the rabbit, 2023. He spits out 3 pellets that killed the rabbit. 1, 2, 3, month of March. Okay, the 13th, or the death card is the 13th death card.
Right.
Or the 13th card in the tarot deck is the death card. Okay, the 13th Lucas number is 322, which ties to the Skull and Bones Society Order of Death. That's where they get that order of Brotherhood of Death. Sorry, Brotherhood of Death. It's because there's the 13th Lucas number. Well, the 13th tarot card is the death card, and they just merge those two together. So if y'all follow that little rabbit.
So before I forget, yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but before I forget, 38 is also tied to I'll share it later in the decode, but there's a player, I believe, for the Eagles that's expecting a baby girl, I think, and that baby might be born during the Super Bowl, and she's 38 weeks, his wife.
Yeah.
So that's another connection to the 38. So now you see how we're getting to like these numbers, you know, people, I'm not making this up. Duke is here, he's testimony, he's still not calling me crazy. So
You
if
can
you
also look at it as 3 8s, 888. You know, which
right,
ties to Jesus and ties to Lucifer, and you can look at it as 3 times 8, which is 24, which is we've got an eclipse, big eclipse coming up in April of 24.
right,
So
right. Yeah, we
yeah,
might have to do a special decode on that.
oh for sure, no, oh wait, well probably at the end of the year maybe.
Right, right. Yeah, because that ties into the X in America, right? Something you've
Yeah,
mentioned that
yeah. So
before.
there's for those who are interested, just a little sneak peek. There's an eclipse that came across America from in 2017, and it went from Washington to Florida. Okay, the path of it. Well, the one in 24 is going to be coming from New York to Arizona, I believe. I don't know which way it's coming. I think it's coming, but it's gonna create an X over close by somewhere in Illinois, but close by St. Louis, and it's a significant turning point, and I believe it's connected to XRP, but that's another decode for another
Yeah,
day.
yeah. That's secret.
Yes,
You gotta hit that like
yeah, hit that like and subscribe,
for real. But
turn on the notifications.
so yeah, so continuing, so Rihanna has that. Remember how I was saying like it'll make sense, like the gold and silver. So she has like kind of like a gold. It almost looks like mustard's a bad picture, but I look at it kind of like goldish color, and then she has the silver jewelry. And this was taken not from any random like fashion shoot or anything. It was taken from her commercial for Apple Music announcing that she's gonna be on the Super Bowl. So
Looks like
huh?
looks like Oscar the Grouch fur or like Grinch fur.
Yeah, it's horrible. I don't know who's the designs this stuff, man. Seriously.
Well, it's green. You think green money,
Right, right,
money. So we got gold, silver, and green.
right. So to continue, this is her fashion line, right? And it's called Fenty, right? And I think it's a lingerie version. It's called Savage or something. I'm not sure. But every time I see the logo, for some reason, I always think of fentanyl, right? And I'll show you why. The Fenty, for me, it sounds like fentanyl. If somebody was on the street, they would say Fenty or whatever, or they want to add it. Sometimes they don't even know if it's added to the drugs, but people are asking for this shit, especially. And guess where? Philadelphia has a big scene of like, drug usage and stuff like that, like homelessness, you know what I mean? Just like San Francisco or whatever, and LA, you know what I mean? So it's pretty bad, that's what's going on. And I said, I almost fell over when I saw this. I said, this looks like, obviously it's an X, right? But doesn't this look like syringes,
Yep.
needles?
Uh-huh.
So I was like, wow, no wonder my spirit kept telling me, keep looking out after this. There's something here in the logo.
The one in the middle.
Which one? This one?
The X.
Right.
The X. Yeah, it definitely looks like it.
They look like needles. And I said to myself, okay, well, maybe there's something that's going to go on, it's kind of like describing the times, describing, the energies or whatever, you know what I mean? And I said, maybe it's another like outbreak or some shit like that, you know what I mean? That's coming up this year. And I know if you've talked about that with me, and I know my godmom, like, my spiritual mentor, she's talked about that they might be like another like resurgence in this crap or whatever that we can't even talk about or whatever the names of it, which is silly. But and these are the actual freaking street names. So there's a big list, and one of them is Apache, China Girl, China White, and all this stuff comes from China, basically the fentanyl.
Apache.
Yeah.
Chiefs.
The Chiefs, right? And then I thought of, look, the Murder 8. The 8 is coming up again. Why was damn? I never heard that on the streets. Murder 8. That's crazy.
I haven't. Let me get some of that Murder 8.
Right? I can't even say that to myself. And then they got other names calling it Dance Fever, Friend, or Goodfella. But I found more of a match with these like couple names here. And continuing, the reason I speak about this, so if someone were to watch the Balenciaga Bitcoin like connection that I made, 72. It's because it's a big 72. Bitcoin is 72, fashion is 72, and hip hop is 72. So that's a big number.
72 was AMC's all-time high before they split their money into the 8 share.
Look at that. AMC. And I think movies is tied to another number. We're gonna check in a few. But so Paco Rabanne, just to go over it, he died on 2/3/23. The Super Bowl is gonna be on 2/12/23. So you have that 23 like numbers together. 23 equals Bitcoin and movies. There you go. So Bitcoin is attached to movies also in some sort of way. So 23 is also huge because it's actually dealing with like Hermes or Mercury, and it deals with mercantilism and trade, and that's what the markets do. They trade, right? Mm-hmm. So this was interesting because I went over this with Duke just out of like just playing around, and I said, doesn't it look funny that the Cats or the Bengals beat the Bills? And he said, oh wow, the Bills, like the dollar bills. Remember you mentioned that? And then I said, oh yeah, the Eagles beat the 49ers. And the 49ers, if you think of the history of San Francisco 49ers, is where they mined gold. Yeah. So I thought that was interesting that each team beat the dollar bill and gold. So maybe we could like talk about that at the end. Like we won't, well, I'll come back to it or whatever. But and also go ahead.
Just real quick, like you said, you had the gold miners beating the Eagles. You have the Year of the Tiger beating the fake fiat money.
Right. Happened the same day of the cat year, the cat rabbit or whatever. Yeah.
Oh yeah. On the 22nd.
On the 20, right on the 22nd.
Yeah, when the Year of the Water Rabbit.
Yeah, and some people call it the cat. I'm saying more cat now because I found a couple connections, and we'll leave it to Jordan with the rabbit stuff, which he did a great job. I can't wait to look at all his stuff because
man, he did amazing.
I heard you told me, man, but I was afraid to look at it because I was like, I don't want anything to say that I was copying him or repeating what he said. So I wanted to make it my own and make my own conclusions real quick.
That's what's awesome is not only because we're all on the same frequency, we're all picking up these clues that are being dropped.
Right.
It's like we've got the eye now for it, and it's a beautiful thing to see. A lot of us are coming together and with the same ship, and it's amazing. It's confirmation.
Yeah, that's what it is for me. It's confirmation. My whole life I've been kind of like having feelings and being, like having like some sort of psychic level, and of course, being more evolved when I met my spiritual godmother and things like that, and she helped me out even more. But like I always tell people, I was like, I can't even discuss this with friends or family without being judged or whatever, and why are you believing in this stuff, and no, that's the devil, or this, that, you know what I mean? So it's hard for certain people. So that's why I wanted like to create the channel, but like, no, you can talk about this and you could be around people that like talking about this, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, man.
So to continue, you got something to say?
No.
Okay.
Keep going.
So to continue, Grammy, Chiefs, Tiger, which was last year, Dragon is next year after the Rabbit Cat, Silver, Matrix, and Future is 31. His own respective like whatever cipher, but I only use like maybe 5 ciphers. I didn't use too many. but they all equal to 31, which I thought was interesting because that's the matrix number right there, 31. And we had the past Grammys, and the Chiefs are the 31 right there. And I know you mentioned something, the 23 is in duo to 14 17 and 23 plus. I don't know why I wrote this here though.
Yeah, well, yeah, I was going to tell you that the 417 area code is in Missouri, and it's directly south of Kansas City. Oh, I should say directly. It's a few-hour drive, but it's south of Kansas City. And yeah, what I can't remember.
Okay, yeah, I see what. Okay, so it's like the sum divisors of equals to 72, 2 times 23, or 2003, 323. So that got mixed up with this slide here. That's why I should have brought it up there. That's what happened. So my bad. But I thought it was interesting that the high school mascot is the Joplin Eagles, directly south of this town. Yeah, Joplin, Missouri.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's directly south of Kansas City. I remember you mentioning that. That's why I wrote that down there.
Yeah. And it destroyed, the EF5 tornado destroyed 1/3 of the town.
1/3, and that's the 31 right
13,
there.
Yeah.
And then you wrote here, lots of mining done in the old days too. So.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That was on, what street was that on? So yeah, it was McClellan Boulevard.
Hmm.
Let's see. It was, hang on. Yeah, I believe it was on McClellan Boulevard, and then Mercy, back in the over 100 years ago, they built the hospital, but they wouldn't build it there unless they let them change the name of the street, because the name of the street was named after like a whorehouse, basically. And because there was a bunch of whorehouses in that town, because it was an old mining town. And then the nuns set up shop there with the hospital, and they refused to build the hospital unless they let the street name. So well, fun fact, it has nothing to do with the Decode.
Okay, that's interesting though.
Yeah.
So we got you're gonna see more and more connections to the 31 in these slides. So today when I got up,
that hospital was destroyed by that tornado.
Oh, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And 1/3 of the town was okay. I get it now. So 13, I got this from just looking at a clip. I know there's been more deaths or whatever, but I kind of just still left it there because it was 2 earthquakes in Turkey and Syria, and there was about 1,300 people killed, and that's another 13.
So I know a guy on Twitter who predicted this earthquake.
Really?
Yeah, he's getting a lot of shit right now.
Oh shit.
They're like, you can't do this. You can't predict earthquakes when he just did.
Exactly. Oh man, people are so
like, there's no possible way to predict earthquakes to planetary alignments. He used planetary alignments to predict it.
Wow. And he said it by the day that was gonna happen?
Yeah, he's posted it. He said it should happen anytime, and then it did.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, people have this feeling, man. They're like these.
Saw that today.
Yeah, these planetary alignments, the numbers, especially, all these things are tools, man. So going back, 13 and 31 equals to it's like finances and financial markets. So it's funny because you mentioned the 13th card is the death card, and the way I could symbolize the markets or any markets or your finances is like, you know, sometimes you go through, you know, it goes through like, you know, death, you know what I mean? And it comes back. It regenerates, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's the card also of like the 5, because there's 5 petals on the flag. And this is another card. This is the 31st card. This is the 13th, but the 31st card has also to do with the coordinates of the pyramid. So I know, I think Logan from Decode Your Reality, he speaks more about it, like more specifically. But I know there's a special tie to these two cards here with finances.
13 plus 31 is 44.
44, and then you always say.
I say it's the master control.
And I'm finally gonna prove you like right again, if that makes sense.
All right.
And as at the end, so you gotta stick through this. All right, so if you look at any of the months, it's 7 months that are 31 days, right? So we're in the 7-year.
Okay.
And Renaissance is the, obviously rebirth. And so is this card, is the rebirth, right? And that's her tour that's coming up. And look at her with the metallic outfit, you know what I mean? Always wearing like metals or something shiny, you know what I mean? Like in most of her get-ups or whatever, especially last night's whatever Grammys. And I just thought it was funny. Now we're gonna go talk about a little bit about the Super Bowl. That doesn't this look like the Phillies and the Chiefs are kind of like gonna push these guys down, like the Bengals or whatever, the Bengals and the 49ers down the Grand Canyon?
Yeah.
Like you could have predicted who's gonna win right there.
Yep.
And look, even I'm give a little teaser, but it looks like Mahomes would push all of them out, or push all of them down that the Grand Canyon, right? Because he's the last man
standing
there. Wild, man. But let's continue. I couldn't find
all those numbers add up to 38.
48, no?
48? No, 38.
Is it 38? You sure?
You got 23 plus 15 is 38.
23? Is it 13? Wait, I'm confused.
1 plus 13.
Oh, yeah, 14.
3.
Okay,
15,
I believe you.
38.
And we already mentioned 38. The 38 weeks due for that, the Phillies player's wife. Yeah. And then you mentioned 38 years of Back to the Future is going to be in July. Those are interesting facts, and tied to Pepsi, tied to the rabbit, tied to March, like Duke Doobie said.
The Super Bowl is 5 days from the 38th day of the year.
The Super Bowl from today?
Yeah, tomorrow is the 7th, 27. And it is the 38th day of the year. And I'm expecting sweet action in the markets.
Downwards?
On some stocks I'm looking at, no, up. But as a market in a whole,
yeah,
I can't really say. I don't know. Like the stocks that I think can go up could destabilize the market. But it could cause the market to, go up as well, but maybe in a couple of days it stabilize. So
okay,
maybe the 8th or 9th it might go down.
Yeah, I remember I had thrown some cards for that date, but we can go over that later.
It's in this Decode, isn't it?
I don't know. I'll see if I can add it. Let's see.
I thought it was in the pictures you sent me, the link.
Yeah, the first ones, yeah, but I kind of moved them. Gotcha. So I'll see how it ties. Let's see. So then I was looking at Super Bowl. It has all these numbers attached to Chiefs. The number 57 because it's the 57th annual Super Bowl, whatever, 57th Super Bowl. And that's the 131 tied to Super Bowl. Arizona, Apple Music, financial markets. Look at it right there, financial markets. So I'm not crazy. You see how it tied together?
The Eagles are tied to the financial markets. So whatever happens to the Eagles is going to happen to the financial markets.
There we go. And you mentioned that to me like a couple weeks back, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. The way you look at so the way I saw it is so when the Chiefs won the Super Bowl, you
said the Chiefs when the Chiefs won the Super Bowl last time, they won like twice already.
Yeah.
So you thought
the pandemic happened.
It would wait, because I think they won in 2018. I think No?
They won in 19.
In 1919, okay, yeah.
Yeah, the Super Bowl was in 2020, and then in March 11th, the announcement happened for COVID-19. And if you
Right.
think about it, the Chiefs were slaughtered by the white man, for lack of a better word, or they were not slaughtered; they were infected with viruses from the white man.
Yeah, and killed also too. They were killed
Killed
off.
off a whole bunch of them,
Yeah.
and then the Indians, pissed off as they were, they create what was somewhere in Virginia, I forget the name, some sort of massacre that happened. These Indians raided these towns and killed everybody basically. And it justified the government to seize the land of the Indians. And so I believe what we're seeing, and that's the history repeats itself, and we're seeing it in these games, these football games.
So how would you tie that the Eagles, if they lose, the finances will go down?
How did I tie that? Well, it just says right here in the Super Bowl, like in the numbers, like the numbers are tied with it. The pig, the financial,
Yeah.
the Eagles, it's all lining up right there. And I don't recall how I said it 2 weeks ago. I'll have to go back and look.
I know you mentioned also like if they
me on that, I got a little off sidetrack.
No. I think you did mention that if the Chiefs lose, like we'll see another like pandemic or something.
I said if the Chiefs win, we might see another
pandemic. Okay, yeah, Chiefs win. Okay, that's what okay, yeah. My bad. Mm-hmm. Okay, so the Chiefs win, that's another confirmation with the whole that I showed the needles and the Fenty and all that. Remember? The brand. Mm-hmm. So that's two confirmations there. If they do win, and you'll see my prediction at the end. But Patrick Mahomes equals 50. We went over that 50th anniversary of hip hop. 57 equals 50. And Patrick Levon, his whole name, the second, it equals to 333. So I thought that was interesting because you have that 333.
Yeah.
And it's the 57th annual Super Bowl or whatever, and I think there was the $50 million deal in 2012. Remember that we went over that, and Mr. Beast being 50. So then that, like, it just like is confirming a couple things.
50,
right.
The anniversary of hip hop.
Right.
All this time together.
Right. And I said 50. I mean, hip hop, fashion, and Bitcoin. You know what I mean? They all tied to 72. They're kind of tied together.
I know the GameStop people tied Wu-Tang Clan to NFTs, like them like doing some sort of NFT musical thing, like something with music and NFTs, basically. And
GameStop did, you say?
Yeah, and I don't know if they're trying to like cut out the music industry or whatnot.
Yeah, they're always trying to go like and do independent things and stuff. As far as like a team and stuff,
I'm trying to find. They have an album.
Which album? The one that they sold on auction?
No, it was an album from a long time ago. I'm trying to look it up real quick.
Okay.
I'll have to maybe another Decode, but I know like their album, like they released a long time ago, was called Silent Wars or something like that.
Liquid Swords? That would be just a
Silent Wars.
Silent Wars. I think that was the Killer Army. I think you shared that with me. Yeah, I think it was the Killer Army Silent Wars. I don't remember a Wu-Tang album. Maybe, I don't know.
Let's see. Pulling up there. Oh.
And they always use the W. We could tie a little bit of that. The W from Wu-Tang is the 23rd letter. 23 is tied to Bitcoin, tied to Mercury, tied to the markets. If you flip over the W, it's an M tied to the moon, is the 13th letter. So you have that 1331 tie again.
So the album's called Silent Weapons for Quiet War.
Oh, okay. I don't remember Silent. Okay.
Yeah, it's a group of Wu prodigies dubbed Kill Army.
Yeah, the Killer Army.
Yeah. And released records in August 1997. But it had something to do with what's going on right now with the NFT, the album that was released back then.
Okay.
And GameStop, and I don't know. I haven't really delved too much into it, but I feel like it's a small piece to the puzzle.
Gotcha. But we'll keep that one in mind. And to go back to the quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles is Jalen Alexander Hurts. He equals to 212. He has the 77, and he has, obviously 301, which you could look at it and say is 31. So we have another 31 connection. 212. We already mentioned the Super Bowl date and 2012's deal with Pepsi and Beyonce. And 77, I know Jordan mentioned it from Waters Above. I think is the numbers of the Jubilee, 77 or 77.
Yeah.
And I think it's tied to Christ. The word Christ, I think, is 77. So Jalen Hurts is equals to 38, and so does Rihanna to 38. So you have another connection again to the 38 and 35 ties Jalen Hurts to Renaissance, and we said that Renaissance was the new tour and album from Beyonce. And now we're gonna get to the prediction part of it, and I hope you stuck around. Thank you for being here. You're the best. You're the best. Listening to our fun facts mixed with numbers. But so Mahomes was born in the year of the pig, and Hertz was born in the year of the tiger. Okay, so Kansas City is a pig city. It was founded in the year of the pig. Well, actually, the Chiefs. The team is actually was actually established in the year of the pig, and Maricopa Glen is the county of Glendale is the city in Arizona where the Super Bowl event will happen. So it's a goat, and that's the friend to the pig and the rabbit cat. So the goat, the pig are friends to the rabbit cat, right? Now the Eagles, I didn't even know that it was actually like connected like this. I said, all I saw was a bird, and I wrote it in the chat. I said, that's tying it to a bird, like, you know what I mean? I guess opponent, if you want to say that. And I said, cat's enemy or the rabbit's enemy is the rooster, and the rooster is bird-like. You know what I mean? But it's a rooster enemy. It's actually a what do you call it? It's born. The Philadelphia Eagles was, established in the rooster year. So from right there, I could tell you, but I'm gonna give you one more like little fact, and then you're gonna see why I'm picking the Chiefs right now. So the goat friend to the pig, the first Super Bowl was in the year of the goat, and it's friend to the pig and the cat, like we mentioned before. Okay. So yeah, my pick right now is the Chiefs.
Same for me.
Yeah, I think they might win this. I could be wrong,
Oh, I bet a lot of money on it.
Yeah, I saw your tab. I was like, wow. So we get these bees, right? Where we get these bees from Beyonce. We got one from Mr. Beast. Don't forget about that. We got one for Bitcoin. We have I believe I didn't do too much homework on it, but I think it's the first two black quarterbacks in the Super Bowl this year. So that's history. It might be the first baby born in the Super Bowl because this lady's bringing her nursing and all that to the game, bro. I don't know if you heard about this.
No.
Yeah, bro. It's insane what they're coming up with this year, man. And it's like first brothers to be on opposing teams in the Super Bowl. So these are all first with the letter B's.
It's also the first Super Bowl with two black quarterbacks.
Yeah, I mentioned that.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, you did. Sorry.
So it was a three historic events that we might happen. I wish they would have placed a bet on this, like, you know, on the baby being born. That would have been crazy. I mean, I don't know if it's made up. I don't know if this is real, but it's like, it sounds too good to be true, man. I've never heard this stuff. Like a baby being born in the Super Bowl. Have you?
No, I haven't heard of that.
They're pulling all the stops, I guess, but
a lot of twos. B is the second letter of the alphabet.
Right. So now I'll get to how I keep coming back to the number 13 and 31. So I went over this a little bit in the last decode that I had on Balenciaga and Bitcoin being related with the fashion ritual and whatnot. And I believe I saw it in a Logan decode, and it looks like the B looks like a 13. If you see it, you kind of see it, right? Yeah. Side by side, right? So ball, they play with the ball. That's, you know, the 12th letter, the L, right, is a 33. And BB, like, you know, obviously we, you know, all these B's we're talking about, you know, the baby being born, the brothers, the Beyonce, the Bitcoin. Like, if you look at them, it looks like an 88, the letter B. Right?
Yeah, 100%.
So you see how the 13, I tied the 13 back to 88, and in between the 50, I didn't go overboard, right? So you see now, like, I made the prediction, but I'll keep, these are just like things I added on to it that are just like, you know, little interesting things. So if, you know, if you stuck around, you better hit that like and make a comment, please. So Madonna, right? If I don't know what happened to her, man, but this is messed up. Yeah, B.
No.
That's messed up, man.
What the fuck?
Yes. And even a couple years ago, I saw her in a video for this artist called Maluma, which is funny because there's an M letter, M, Ma, the Matrix, the 13, the 31. You get it now? But she didn't look like this, bro, at all.
No, she looks like she comes with an OnlyFans page.
Bro. I don't know what happened. I would fire that surgeon, man. Unless like how I would love to see Jordan talk about this, like to see what he comes up with, man, because this is probably like a fake person. This is like, has to be a clone or something, man.
It's gotta be some, I don't know.
Bro, I think they all gonna look like this just so they can make easy clones or something, bro. Like, what is this, man?
Easy.
So going back, we look at I always look at the 13 as a moon. I mean, I'm sorry, the M, the moon, right? Money, markets, and Madonna obviously has the 13th letters, right? So now how you see how 13 is tied to the Matrix, tied to money, tied to markets, right? You see where I'm going, right? So going back, yeah, like the other video, this is where I saw that double B, and it like ignited, I guess, and helped me with this decode, because Bitcoin, obviously the B, the 13, the Balenciaga, and then you have this artist, right? This Latin artist called Bad Bunny that was in the Grammys, right? And this guy's been so freaking popular for the last few years, like, you know what I mean? And you know, in singing and whatever concerts and stuff like that, like huge concerts around the world. Yeah. And we're dealing with a rabbit year. So I said, Mr. Bad Bunny in a rabbit year, perfect timing for the 65th annual Grammys. and before the 57th annual Super Bowl. So now you're gonna see a couple more ties that might come together or not, but these are just like fun little slides. And you know, he's from Puerto Rico, Bad Bunny, and the People's Republic of China. You'll see why I put that in there. And Paco Rabanne, the PR, right? And if you see where they've shot down that or whatever balloon this past weekend, that was supposedly the spy balloon and whatnot, like whatever they made up.
My card.
Huh?
The 16th card. Sorry, I got excited.
Yeah. So P, the letter P is the 16th letter, and R is the 17th letter. So I was trying to make that connection. It's a tower card. Is connected to Back to the Future, and I remember I mentioned it to you, and you've been going crazy ever since with the tarot.
Shit, yeah. You sparked a fire in me.
Yeah, man. So, you want to speak about it first, or you want me to talk first?
Go ahead.
So 88 is obviously from the 88 miles per hour tied to radium, the 88th element tied to Back to the Future. Going back, this is the, if you add 8 plus 8 is 16. And it's tied to the tower card. And if you look at the tower card, it looks like part of the movie where, you know, the tower gets damaged by lightning, and that's how Marty you know, he wasn't able to come back into the future, and he had to have someone help him fix the clock. And now I can't even think of, oh my god, the doctor was his name, help me out.
Doc Brown.
Doc Brown, there you go. Doc Brown and him had to fix that clock while he fixed the clock. Doc Brown did, I think, while Marty went into the dance, right, or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So I thought it was funny.
He was getting all that set up.
Right. So if you look at the metal, or the element, I'm sorry, the radium is used in luminous paints, for example, in clocks and watch dials. You believe that? So the same element from 88, right? The number 88 tied to this is used in the clock and watch dials, the paint when they do, I guess, the dials or whatever.
Oh, yeah. For the, they also use them for, I think, sights for, like, guns and stuff. Maybe that's a different element, but.
So radium is actually tied to 223, because it's called radium 223, and I thought it was funny. Right. So you see where I'm going with this.
I didn't know that. That's juicy.
Right. So it's also could be tied to my version. Could be, and I said this out of a whim, and you know, when this happens to me, I get what is it called? Like, not goosebumps, but like, you know, I get angsty about this, but because I know I'm going the right path. I just said it out of the whim. I said, oh, 16. I remember I told you, because I'm sorry, 79th element, gold, and I mentioned gold dealing with the tower card, because it's the 16, right? Like when you break down 79, right? So if you look at gold, I overheard this somewhere. I would love to like quote that person, where it said gold is the time traveler's currency. So we're gonna go full circle to like 88. We're gonna go, you know, we mentioned 65, the movie, going back in time. So there are two main theories about how gold is originally formed, both involving stars. One involves the explosion of supernova stars and the resulting nuclear fusion, creating atoms of gold, and the other, the collision of neutron stars that results in a gamma ray burst, one of the most powerful explosions possible. And look at the lightning hitting the tower, the star, the 17th letter. You see where I'm going, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the 16th element, also sulfur, the alchemical symbol for sulfur, is shown against the fire and brimstone. So I don't know if you want to add something, two things about Back to the Future, or about like any Bible quotes, fire and brimstone.
One thing that comes to mind, this is all new information, sort of new information right here, this part, but the sulfur, what comes to mind is in part 2, or actually it was at the end of, well, in part 1, when he comes back, when Doc comes back from the future and says, and takes him and his girlfriend to the future for
Okay.
part 2. He has a food processor
Okay.
instead of radium, instead of plutonium. He figured out a way to use.
Oh, that's right, because he was just using like putting banana peels and little like pieces of garbage or whatever.
And that doesn't create sulfur, but it creates methane, which stinks like sulfur.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I know it's mentioned also in the Bible, fire and brimstone, and that's this symbol here. That's the 16th. That's the real correspondence to the tower card. So it's actually, you see how it looks like a pyramid, and we already mentioned 31 is tied to the pyramid. 13, you know what I mean? You get where I'm going?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it actually means the punishment of hell, right? And then you see the two people coming out of the actual tower, right? And as I'm going through this, go ahead.
It's just like telling me, right? It's screaming like, if you fuck up, you're going to be reincarnated back in this simulation, this time box.
Maybe because of that, yeah. Because the Back to the Future, everything coming, yeah, with time, and like if you look at the numbers, time, or like numbers for time and light, I think they equal together. God or something is tied to time. You know, because it's all calendar, like even the Bible is like, you know, a work of calendars and astrology and numbers, especially numbers first. But that's interesting. But so going to the star card, I mean, if you look at the element, I didn't really go too much because it didn't really match with this decode. But if you look at the star card, it has 8 stars, and you know the lady that you see here is either is tied to Isis, and it's usually called the water bearer, right? Like from the sign of Aquarius, right? Yeah. So if you look at Aquarius, the 11th sign, and it's referring to technology and knowledge, right? So these two cards, I mean, compared, you know, going back to the numbers, I'm sorry, PR, we already mentioned Puerto Rico, Paco Rabanne, and People's Republic, and this thing was shot down. You see what I'm saying? And what were they trying to do? And the cards right there, they confirmed to me that you know, they might have been spying. It was a technology for knowledge. The 8-pointed star is interesting. If I find more facts on it, but I'm gonna keep this loud for sure. But this, you know, happening as we go, and like this is really weird news. Like everything that I mentioned, I hope people see that I'm not making this shit up. You know what I mean? This is all tying together. And then last night, I will touch base on this. The non-binary pop star Sam Smith performs like a BDSM like ritual, like devil themed, the unholy at the Grammys. So that's the name of the song that he performed. And if you look at the letters again, BDSM, the M, right? Using like the negative aspects or the dark aspects of the moon, you know what I mean? Of the 13 from the moon, right? Sam, he has that 13, Smith as the 13, and the ball, right? Because it's all ball magic and ball ritual has the 21 and the 13 involved. Right? And the last few slides, you know what I mean? I thank you so much for watching this. It's been such a pleasure. I mean, to work with Duke and him giving me confirmations and feeding back and forth. And I always wanted to do this, you know, like a dual decode. And next time we're going to actually put in Devine Vortex, but she, you know, she wasn't more like, she didn't want to really talk about the, yeah, she's a busy lady. And I hope she doesn't get mad or nothing, but last time we spoke, she said, I'm not really involved, you know, with the whole Super Bowl thing. And she doesn't like to watch anything about media and things like that. So
yeah, she's our TA girl.
Yeah, she's our TA girl, astrology, and she keeps us together, man.
Yeah, for sure. I want to add something to the ball, 13.
Sure.
Ball, Moonlock.
Yeah, Moloch, yeah. Isn't that the owl god or something?
Yeah. Basically the same characters.
So there's definitely something going on, and even going back, I'm not gonna show really images of it, but even the last like the Miss I think Miss Universe, I believe. You know how everyone, and it's not about anything, or I'm not trying to judge or nothing like that, but even like the styles of, like, you know, the fashion that they were using for their dresses and things like that. The weirdest one was that this the Miss America stood out the most because nobody wore red in that form, and like she combined it with red and black, and then she had like black letters written on her, like on a long red cape, so it was like really reddish, you know what I mean? And I just thought, and like she had like very dark makeup, and I'm like, that's not usual. I mean, I don't watch all of them, you know what I mean, but like at all, whatever, just like highlights, but you know what I mean? And like I just try to decode a bunch of stuff. I find some good things, but I just find it funny, like that even that was like perverse, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. It's getting that way everywhere.
It's like it's not cool to be just normal, you know, or whatever it was.
Outdo yourself.
Yeah,
Do that.
yeah.
Person. And if someone's getting more risque, it just leads to more risque.
And that's right here. She's the Dawn. That's why they call her the Dawn right here. Let's show a picture again, just so we could get for shits and giggles. Hold on, that's the Dawn right there. She's the Donna, right? She started it all. Think about it. The like a virgin right there, bro. The 13, the Madonna. From the oh my god, man. This is crazy. But going to the 32 Grammys that she won, Beyonce, I started like seeing connections. So Earthquake, we had that big earthquake today. We saw Unholy was the name of the song by Sam Smith. Grammys also equal to 32. Kansas City, Eagles, and the Chiefs, all 32. And that's a number I'll tell you now what it kind of means. But I put this up on Twitter today. I said Beyonce has a total of 32 Grammys. Earthquake in Turkey, Sam Smith on Holy, and all this stuff, all in the year of the cat. And you know, and the reason is reading up on the cat. Oh, and America actually also equals to 32. And the cat is actually in a negative tone, is kind of like it's perverted. You know what I mean? Like you're gonna see a lot of like S&M stuff this year. You're gonna see a lot of like, you know, sexual perversions, maybe people getting even allegations or locked up or more, like, you know what I mean? You're gonna see more and more of it this year than ever.
Yeah, for sure. It's gonna get worse before it gets better.
Yeah, man. So remember when I told you I had a treat, right? With the number 44. So earthquake, Baal, perversion equals 44. And right there, if you want to come in and mention about the 44, mention something about the 44.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember what the books tell you if 44 means, but it just makes sense. So 22 is the master builder. Okay. Well, just makes sense to me that if you add another 22, you get 44. So 4 plus 4 is 8, and on the cube, Saturn time cube, you have 8 points. And it just made sense to me that it's a destroyer number, and I see it in stock algorithms all the time. It's hard to explain without showing you, but I've shown Decode before how it is very significant.
Okay.
Throwing shit, basically.
Well, there's your confirmation right there. 44.
Yeah.
Equal
your confirmation number is what, 144?
144, that's right.
Which is a magnifier of 44.
Right.
In the Bible, you got the 144,000. 72 times 72 is 144.
Yep. And also, I just found out that there's 144 center stones in I think the Pyramid of Giza.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I think there's like 72. There's 72,000 genomes in each DNA.
Correct.
Strand. And so there's two. There's a dual helix, so there'd be 2. So it's 144.
144. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of my first Decode 144, based on a song by a band there. But that was it, man. Like only thing I also wanted to share is just news. I like to, the last time I shared news, and it kind of, not that it came to fruition, but it was like leading towards it. And I would just say this time, be careful. Binance is temporarily suspending USD and US bank transfers on February 8th. So I thought that was interesting. And that's another,
February 8th.
that's the
Oh,
22.
so that was, they're saying they're giving you warning.
Yeah, they're giving a warning already.
Yeah, and I've been, like I said earlier, I think the market might dip on the 8th or 9th.
Okay. So yeah, man. Had something else, I think, from this last Decode. And basically, if you stuck around, you get another gem. This is actually the Balenciaga video. You could go back and watch it. It has a lot of clues and things that I tied together with the markets and fashion. I'm not a fashion kind of guy, but it just falls on my lap. And look how you saw in the numbers, it all ties together. So I know, hope I'm making sense, or we're making sense here. So Balenciaga had this they had this like a fashion show in the actual New York Stock Exchange, right? And the reason I'm bringing this up back again is because this is coming up. This is gonna be released. The I guess the line that they were promoting is gonna be released in spring 23. So basically, like, you know, end of March. So for me, it's confirming from the markets themselves and from all the stuff that we've gathered and that you've heard so far. Like like for me, for myself, I'm buying a couple of these dips leading into like March, and you know, and a little bit maybe April. But I know Jordan has spoken about maybe the markets is going, you know, keep continuing higher, like up to the solar eclipse. I think he said from 420.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much interesting that, you know, you're getting another angle, you know, if you follow his work and things and whatnot. But
Yeah.
you
Pay attention to who wins the Super Bowl.
mm-hmm.
It'll be very important. You know, last time the Chiefs won, the pandemic happened, and then everything looked like it was about to bottom out and be worthless. But all of a sudden, it just started pushing up, and we got new all-time highs. And if that happens, if the Chiefs win, that might happen again. It might not be a pandemic; it might be a war. You know, because the colonial people fought the Indians too,
Right.
in a war. So,
And if you look at the
full-on war, it could be a civil war. Who knows? But something's going to happen, and I believe it's going to fake out the market, and it'll pump up.
one question I have for you was I know, like, you know, it sounds a little negative, but we have to, you know, face history of what it is. But I hope nobody takes it the wrong way, the way I'm gonna ask this question. But I know in history, the Indians have, or the Native Americans used to scalp, you know, the settlers, whatever, they used to scalp their heads. And I know last time we spoke about this, like another tie could be like maybe during the markets also, like scalp trading or something like that. Like, what do you think?
Yeah, it's definitely so. You know, scalping is just a term. It could have came from the Indians playing techniques that they had. Just want to just sell right at the top,
Right.
or buy at the top, sell at the bottom, whichever direction you're going.
Right.
Um,
So it's like little things that we could look at. Like, you know, I like to visualize. And also, if you from what I've read, if you look at like the cat itself, you know, looking at it as the cat, if you want to look at it as the rabbit, is up to you, whoever's listening. But looking at the cat always tortures its prey before he kills them. So if you
Yeah.
think about, that's another tie too, torturing, scalping, you know what I mean? That was a form of torture.
And if you look at the markets right now, man, like even me knowing like when the market's going to move, I still get screwed because I'll buy options and they'll be doing good, and then I'll walk away for 20 minutes and come back,
And
and it's done dip 5%, and I just lost 150% gains on my call options because I didn't sell them or something. The volatility is what
it's
fucking
insane, yeah.
they're fucking with people before they kill them. They're
Right,
just slowly taking people's money left and right, and then all of a sudden they're going to rug pull everything. Yeah, I
right,
think it was towards the end of the year, honestly,
right.
myself, end of the year next year.
I'm just looking at that like lunar eclipse in November. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's when
Yeah,
it,
well,
but
the solar one coming up will be significant.
I hope so, man. I think we need a break, man. Like, we need some bullish stuff
We'll have
going
to
on.
go back and, on the next Decode, we'll have to go back and look to see what happened on the last solar eclipse in 2017. What happened to the market?
Okay.
Yeah, because there could be a difference between lunar and solar eclipses and what it does to the market.
Right. I mean, I think the November eclipse was very significant, more powerful because it was a blood moon also during the
Yeah, it
eclipse.
was
So
a what would we say it was
it was
a
a
beaver.
beaver, yeah, beaver moon on top of that. And I mentioned that in the decode that, the beaver likes to chop down trees and knock down what it has. So
Yeah, and there's also an old cartoon called The Beavers and the Bears or something like that.
the
That's
beavers and the
basically how
bears.
the yeah, it's like how I think it's the beavers chase away the bears, basically.
Oh
Long
wow,
story short,
that's interesting.
yeah, dam up that water, that fluid, that liquidation.
I'm going back to this Madonna picture, man.
Ugh.
Imagine her singing out like a virgin. And then the funniest,
Zipper, I'm off this podcast.
no, but the funniest thing, even before she looked like this, and she didn't, she wasn't looking that like that crazy, like for her age. But I remember she tried to do a lap dance to Drake or something, and he tried to make out with her, and Drake like pushed her away.
She looks like the Lehman Brothers' sister.
The Lehman? No, the you talking about the
Is it the Lehman Brothers?
No, you're wrong. I know you're talking about somebody. I think was trying to make a meme in the chat today. I think it was oh my god, I can't remember his name right now. But I know what brothers you're talking about. They're like two twins, right?
Yeah,
I think they passed away too.
probably.
Like some millionaire twins. But anyway, let's cut it right here. I thank you so much to the public. To if you want to hear more of Duke and this type of decoding, this dual decoding will probably be a triple decoding with Devine. I know she might want to add in, but we've been working on these like decodes for like a couple months already, since like November, right, Duke? I think, right?
Yeah, it's been since before then, I think, actually.
Right. And then we like
We kind of took December off.
yeah, it was kind of we were doing bad.
For a good couple months before then.
Right. But it's good to have Duke here as part as like, I am more, into the numbers, I'm more into the tarot, a bit of the astrology, whatever. But it's good to have him because he's more like experienced, investing and trading, and he's actually, he's doing good for himself with the things that he's been decoding, and we're gonna be sharing more and more of these little tips and things like that. If you appreciate it, if you find this useful, I always invite you, make a comment, say, hey, we want Duke back, and we want Devine in there too, and we want to hear more about you guys or whatever. So you want
to share with y'all if y'all want to hear it.
yeah, for sure. He has a chat. I told him he's in a 7 personal year, right? And we're in a 7 universal year. So he has that going for himself. Duke does, and also he's a rabbit cat,
Yeah.
and we're in a rabbit cat year. So it's a perfect year to start, like start something,
Yeah.
And you have a lot of great ideas, man. You do, man.
What's funny is because we're saying, you know, the cat likes to fuck with its prey before it kills it. And me and Decode I was telling him, like, tips and tricks, you know, like playing options on how to create more buying pressure on the hedge funds and whatnot.
Yeah, that
You're
was.
a cat, aren't you? So I was like, what? It's like, your sign, your cat. So I don't know. And then I looked it up, and my rising sign is Leo.
Look at that. That was
He's
funny,
like, you
man.
like to fuck with people before you kill them. I was like, oh yeah, 100%. I've got 5 brothers.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Oh, this is the first time I hear that. Wow.
I got 5 brothers for sure.
So they taught you the ropes, man. They taught you like the nitty gritty, man.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
I always wanted brothers. I have a younger sister.
Oh man, they're great, but they're a pain in my ass sometimes.
Are you what, the youngest, the middle, the oldest? The middle? Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. At least you didn't get
middle. There's 6 of us.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's wild, man. That's
Yeah.
good to hear, man. My grandmother had a bunch of kids. Like I come from a big family in that sense. But then each like my father, he had 2 of us, and then like each one had like 2 max 3. One of my uncles has like 3, but we have like there was like 7 children from my grandmother.
Big families make it interesting, that's for sure.
Yeah, like Christmases was so dope, man.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Sure.
But anything else you want to add, and we could just chat, like, I could just shut off real quick just so we could keep talking.
You already shut off.
No, I'll shut it off now if you want to say say the end.
I don't have anything to add.
Well, don't be like Madonna. Don't be like the Winklestons or something. The Winkle Boys or something like that.
Yeah,
Don't be.
I forget their names. But yeah.
We'll look it up if you.
We're gonna have to do it.
The Winklevoss. That's their name. Winklevoss twins.
Oh my god.
The Winklevoss twins.
That's what she looks like.
All we need to do is clone her, right? And then put like a cell phone in her ear. I think. Oh my god, I forgot who did it. Santos Claus put it on in the Wolfpack chat today, man. It was pretty funny.
Great.
Yeah, so I'm gonna shut it down. Thank you for watching. I'm just gonna continue conversing with in the background with Duke here. So peace, y'all. Thank you.
Thanks for listening.
Later.
Like and subscribe. Turn on your notifications.
For sure.